Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you said already that it took a while.
It did.
Yes.
We
We-
made the
we-
appointment and canceled, and
Yeah.
yeah.
We used to meet every Sabbath, but most of my guests, I meet them for the first time here.
Oh, wonderful.
Quite different from you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. As you know by now, the name of the program is The Starting Point. So I'd like to ask you, where is your starting point in life?
Oh, in life. I was born in Jamaica, in the West Indies.
You think you are the first person I interview coming from
No,
Jamaica?
you told me before.
Plenty of, probably, except of America, I mean, people from born here, probably people from Jamaica are the next.
Wonderful, wonderful.
They are everywhere.
We are everywhere, even in Romania.
Even in Romania?
Yes, yes. We are there too.
You have to tell me that.
Yes. So yeah, I was born in Jamaica, West Indies, and my parents immigrated in the late 60s, early 70s.
How old were you at that time?
They actually came ahead of me and left me with my grandparents.
I
So
see.
that was about a year while they got settled here. And I came when I was about 3.
Oh, so you don't have actual memories from Jamaica before of that?
Not very many,
Yeah.
not very many.
But the place where the family was located at that time was in a city, was in a rural area?
In the beautiful country. We are from a parish called St. Elizabeth, and where my grandparents' house was, you look out over the hills and right down to the
All the
ocean.
parishes in Jamaica are named after saints?
No,
No?
not all of them.
Not quite.
Many. There are a few that are not. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have siblings?
I have one brother.
One brother.
Yes, he's 6 years younger than me. Yeah. He also,
Oh, so he was born here.
he
probably.
was born here.
I
Yes.
see. And so you were part of a very large family. Your parents had many siblings, many aunts, uncles.
Yes,
Cousins.
my mom is one of 8, and I believe my dad's one of 8 too.
Oh,
Sometimes I lose count. But yes, so it was a large extended family, and we often went to Jamaica for the summers when we were out of school. So we got to stay in touch with different family members and get to know our cousins and some of the aunts and uncles.
I suppose life was quite exciting.
It was. It was simple but exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you know what determined your parents to move to America?
They were just looking for better economic situations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know what was their job or career in Jamaica?
My dad, this is what it says on my birth certificate, was a tailor, and my mom was a seamstress. Yeah.
What's the difference between the two?
One is the man, one is the woman.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was a seamstress. She actually made her own wedding dress, and as we were growing up, she actually sewed a lot of our clothes for me and my brother.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, it was
Did
great.
you like them?
Until I didn't. A lot of the kids were getting store-bought clothes, and if I knew then what I know now, I would have graciously accepted the custom-made clothes.
At that time you became,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And so you don't have memories of adjusting to life in America because you
No,
were too
I was
young.
very small, and my parents worked for an Adventist institution in
Yes.
upstate New York called the Adventist Home.
What kind of institution?
Sure, they had independent living, so they had small cottages and homes, mobile homes. They also had assisted living, so folks who could get up and around but may need
Still
help with
needed.
medication and providing meals.
Yes.
And then there was also a nursing home.
Oh,
Yeah, so part of the campus, or right next to the campus, was the Adventist church, which also had a church school attached to it. So It was kind of all inclusive, hundreds of acres, beautiful woods, springs, very nice.
What about the winters?
It was cold.
In Jamaica, you loved the winters.
Well, you know, I think because I was so young,
Sure, you have
I adapted very well to winter weather.
Yes.
It was a very close-knit community, so on Saturday nights they would have socials that were tobogganing or sledding with hot cider and things like that. So even now, sometimes I miss that because it was a very close-knit church community.
So what were your parents doing there?
My father worked in the kitchen as a food service director. My mom started in the kitchen but continued her education and became a nurse's aide, the head nurse's aide there at the home.
So she moved to another place, or she continued working?
She continued there. Over time, she actually did some private duty in home care, and after a while, she did leave and moved to another facility.
I see.
Yeah.
And as a child, do you have memories of being surrounded by elderly people? Some
Absolutely.
of them in not very good shape.
Absolutely.
Probably. Did you like it, or you?
You know, it was so natural because I'd been with my grandparents for a while.
And now you had plenty of
Now I had
grandparents.
plenty of grandparents, and
Did they love you?
they did.
They did.
They did. My mom and I still talk about a few people. Mr. Allen was a gentleman who was blind, and you know, just taught us little rhymes and things like that. Mrs. Berlarley was our Sabbath school teacher from Cradle Roll, and she taught me all the way through Cradle Roll. She taught my brother all the way through Cradle Roll, and then my niece, who is 23 now, she taught her in Cradle Roll as well.
So quite a span of time.
Yes, she was very dedicated to, that was her ministry.
Were you also eager to help with a little bit, making services to the people there, and
Yeah, I played the piano, so often I would play piano for Vacation Bible School once I got a little bit older, or as well play for the residents, just, kind of for the different activities.
How did you learn playing piano?
I took piano lessons.
You took
yeah.
piano lessons?
Yes, from age 6 through high school.
Oh,
Yeah.
Quite a number of years.
Yes, quite a number of years. Yeah.
What about organ? Because now you play also the organ.
I do. I took 4 years of organ in high school. In fact, a couple Christmases ago, I was sitting at the organ in Atlanta North, and my organ teacher actually showed up for the service. So that was
Did you feel a little nervous?
Very nervous, very nervous. But at the end of the service, she said that she was listening with her heart, not her teacher heart, so I was okay.
Good. Let me tell you a story. It's not, I hope it's not against you, but the story goes that it was the final examination for a class of seminarians, so future preachers. And part of that was to have them present a short sermon to their peers, families, teachers. And the mother was there when her son presented the sermon. And when he finished, the mother told her, "Oh, people were very impressed, especially there was an old man, an old gentleman here. And he was so impressed. Actually, she cried all the time." And the son asked, who can you show me? "Oh," he said, "Mom, there may be another explanation to that. He is my teacher of homiletics." But it didn't apply to you. Your organ teacher didn't
Yes,
cry.
she was very generous, and She approved my selections for the service, so it was nice.
Were you thinking of making piano playing a career for you at that time?
No,
No,
it was
no,
no.
no,
It,
no.
it
It
was
was just
something,
to
yes, that I enjoyed,
Mhm.
but not for a career.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about doing as a
Um, in the beginning, I thought I wanted to go into the medical field, but over time, I decided I didn't like to see other people injured. So I actually changed to business administration in college. Yeah, with a little bit of economics in the background.
Return to that. I didn't ask you anything about the religious life of the family. Were they Adventists?
Absolutely.
They have been Adventists all their lives?
Not Adventists all their life. My mom converted to Adventism. I don't think there was any religious background before that. During a crusade in Jamaica. And then my grandmother converted after my mom. So she actually used my mom's wedding dress to get baptized in.
So sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I have attended a few evangelistic meetings in Jamaica.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
Nice.
yes.
Very different from here.
Yeah, they were held in tents.
In
huge
tents.
tents.
Yes, they call them tent
Lots of-
meetings.
lots of people. And in one case, the speaker was a businessman, a builder. And in another case, it was a lady, very powerful lady, very powerful speaker. Yeah, it was very, very impressive.
Yeah, they really encourage the lay pastor's activity. I'm not sure if it's like that now, but when we were growing up, sometimes we didn't see the pastor for 3 or 4 weeks because he had
Many
4 to
churches.
5 churches.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah.
So you grew up in this atmosphere. Then your parents worked for an Adventist institution. By the way, is that institution still in operation?
It's not. It's not. It was sold, I believe, 8 or 9 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so precious memories. Yes.
Absolutely.
What about your own memories? I mean, memories about your own, approaching God, praying, reading the Bible, making up your mind for the future. How and when happened?
Yeah, we were always very involved in church. We were involved in Sabbath school, Pathfinders, anything that was going on at the church, we were always very involved. My own experience, I didn't want to jump the gun. When I was sure, I just wanted to be 100% sure. So I actually didn't get baptized until I was 25.
25?
Yeah.
Were your parents a little concerned, anxious?
No, my parents are very, relaxed, and they never pushed me one way or the other. And I appreciate that. I know some people that are pushed a little.
May I
it's
go a
time.
little deeper?
Sure.
Where it took, as you said, quite a time. Did you have some intellectual doubts or questions you didn't have answers? That was what made you wait, or it was the need of a very powerful and overwhelming experience, something to make you sure that you are called and this is your place? What was going in your soul during those years?
Yeah, I don't know that I ever had any doubt, but I had seen some of my friends baptized at 9, 10, 11, and then they hit those teenage years and went the complete opposite direction.
Some of them
some of
fortunately
them.
returned, but not all.
Correct. So I just wanted to make sure that for me, that when I made that commitment, that, this is it, rest of life.
And so where have you been baptized?
I was baptized in New York at my home church, and after a little period of slacking off, I was rebaptized at Atlanta North in 2002. Yeah.
I see. How was the church life in your home church in New York? What memories do you have?
Yeah, very, very active.
It was a church made up mostly of people from Jamaica?
Absolutely not.
No.
Remember, we were in upstate New York.
No.
There were mostly white people. I think when we started going to that church, we were one of maybe 2 or 3 families. One family, I believe, was from Barbados. We were from Jamaica, and then there was another family that traveled some distance to come to the Adventist church there. The churches were a lot more spread out than they are here.
Yes.
Over time, as people moved from New York City, the church became more diverse. So we had Hispanic people, Germans. So it was a very good mix. Yeah, kind of like heaven.
Yeah. So, was there any event or inner experience, inner transformation, which became the catalyst for your decision?
Yeah, I think I was just ready. I was just ready. I was entering another stage in life, so I was getting ready to get married. So I just wanted to, have things lined up to make sure that things were
We'll
in
speak
order.
about that, but now, in the meantime, you were working for a career. You said that you, at one time, you're thinking on working in the medical field,
Yes.
but you said finally it's not for me.
Yes.
So,
So I actually went to Atlantic Union College in Massachusetts.
so
And
an Adventist college. Yes.
absolutely, Adventist all the way through,
Really?
from first grade through college, yes. I went to the little church school that was by the campus. I attended Blue Mountain Academy in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, and then Atlantic Union College in Massachusetts. So,
Did they work well for you?
absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I think they were, I have friends from grade school. We were maybe 7 and 5 when we met, or 8 and 6, somewhere in there. I have friends from academy that we're still very close and in touch. And I have wonderful friends from college that.
Is that part of the explanation why you are so much involved in the church and you feel so,
Could
church
be.
is your life?
Could be.
It could be.
Church, I think we're from a family of service. So it just comes very natural for me to be there and want to get involved. I don't necessarily need to be upfront, but as long as I'm adding support from behind, it's very fulfilling. Yeah.
So you went to Atlantic Union College to study what?
I actually started as an accounting major.
Accounting.
And after about 3 semesters, deciding that the accounting was just a little bit
too dry.
Too dry. I'd rather work a little bit more with people. So I spoke with my advisor, and we made that transition over to business administration. And then I have a minor in economics as well.
I see. What was next?
So after there, I've actually moved to Connecticut and worked for a stock brokerage firm for about 11 months. It was, kind of training ground for being out in the world. From there, I moved on to my first insurance company job. I worked for Northwestern National Life, which is, they did medical, life, disability insurance. So I actually started as a rating clerk there, which you would get the information from the various people, put it through the system, and then provide the sales information to the sales representative. So that was good. I stayed there maybe about 7 years. When I left, they were located in Stamford, Connecticut. And when I left, they were actually relocating the office to New Jersey, and offered a nice severance package. If I would stay until September when they moved, they would pay me till the end of the year. And I was getting married and moving to Massachusetts, so it worked out very well. Yeah. So from there, I actually went onto the consulting side and worked for an independent broker in Springfield, Massachusetts, for about maybe 3 to 4 years, maybe about 3 years. And then my husband at the time got relocated to Pennsylvania, which was probably my least favorite place. Just not very warm, not a really good community feel, which I feel like I need. And then from there, I ended up in Atlanta.
I see.
Yeah.
You, in different contexts, you mentioned 2 times, I think, the fact that you are going to get married, and then you said something like my then husband.
Yes.
So at this time you are single.
That's correct.
So
That's correct.
let's speak a little bit about your, moving toward marriage, getting married, with this knowledge that this is history.
Absolutely, absolutely.
By now, yeah. And I don't ask you these questions just out of curiosity. I have no business in going through your life, but I'm thinking on some of our viewers struggling with similar situations. And I think you are not only your experience, but the way you think through now your past experience may help them to sort out things.
Okay. So we met maybe my junior year in college. He was actually the roommate of a friend of mine from Academy. And back in those days, not everyone had a computer, so all papers were typed.
Sure.
And I could type, so I had some little side jobs during school. So I started typing his papers, and we met, we talked about things, we just grew really close. Maybe 3 or 4 years after I graduated, we decided we were going to get married.
Excuse me, he was also of Jamaican origin?
No. He is Hispanic. His family's from Honduras, but he was born here in New Orleans.
I see.
Yeah. So we got married, and it was great until it wasn't. So, I mean, there were some underlying issues there that we probably should have addressed prior to getting married. And it ended up just being a very uncomfortable, emotional situation.
Are you willing to give a little more detail so that people understand?
Yeah.
The reason I ask that is, people have different tolerance to difficult situations, and some may be very, very, very harmed by what others may consider very mild, challenges or difficulties. Others have a huge ability to endure, to accept, and it's difficult to figure out.
Yeah. So he had some substance abuse issues.
Excuse me, do you think he had that before you got married and it was unknown to you, or he developed that little by little, do you know?
Or, I often say this, that sometimes as women, you kind of overlook things because, he'll change, or we'll work on it together.
He loves me so much, I love him so much.
Exactly. So it was there. I don't believe it was as big of a problem as it became. But it just became kind of the overshadowing thing in the marriage, where he called one night and he had run into a curb and flattened both tires. And I got really scared that next time it may be either the police calling and he had either hurt himself or hurt someone else. And there was an unwillingness to get any help there.
That developed over a period of years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were married 17 years.
17 years.
Yes.
And there were many incidents like those?
Towards the end, there were, more frequent. Yeah.
Was he willing to admit he has a problem, or he was resisting?
Very defensive.
Very defensive.
Yeah.
Was he presenting excuses?
Often.
You were part of you causing him to do that?
Not that I was causing him to do it,
I
but
mean, his interpretation.
yeah, just the pressure of what things that he's going through, and it was a way of him coping with whatever the issues were.
Was he able to keep his job and to, yeah, he was.
Yeah. And in many jobs, it's just socially acceptable, so it just became a bigger and bigger challenge over time.
Were there periods when he was able to stay sober and then relapsing, or you don't remember?
Towards the end,
all the time?
Not really. No.
It was, you didn't mention, it was alcohol or other?
Alcohol.
Good.
Yeah.
He was not dealing with illegal drugs or
No.
alcohol?
No. Yeah, and I mean, I say that and people look at me when I say this. He's a very good friend, because his friends, he would give them the last dollar, the shirt off his back. Not such a great husband. So we're actually still, in touch maybe once or twice a year just to see how things are going with each other. We spent almost 25 years, dating or married. So
he's part of
absolutely. At the point where we got divorced, I had been with him for over half of my adult life. So you don't just cut that out and, throw it away. So
when he was under the influence, was he also violent? Or?
Never. He got very melancholy and thoughtful and emotional about things. So
was he aware of the fact that if he wanted really to make a change, God was willing to deliver?
I think he didn't want to accept that. Yeah.
Was he fantasizing about the fact that I don't hurt anyone, God will understand me, you should also understand me?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in his family it's accepted, it's socially accepted, so, kind of just deal with it. This is who I am.
How early during those troubling times, how early do you think you began thinking on separation?
Maybe about 10 years in. Yeah, so, I think a lot of people think, okay, they will change.
Sure.
Let me just give some more time. And again, just like getting baptized, I wanted to make sure that I had done everything that I could do, so that when and if we were going to separate, I'd just never look back.
So it took you
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, about 7 years.
Did you let him know that without a change, your marriage is going to break?
Yeah.
Did he believe it, or he didn't take you seriously?
I don't think he took me seriously. The last year we were physically separated. So I asked him to move out, and I was willing to go to counseling, but asked him, make the arrangements. Wherever you want to go, I will go. And a year went by and nothing.
So he never entered a rehabilitation program?
No.
No.
No marriage counseling, nothing. So, yeah.
What was the last straw? It was something, or it was just enough, it's enough?
Yeah, I think the last straw was we were working on our taxes, and this is right before we separated. We were working on our taxes, and he had taken out a large sum out of his retirement, which comes with a penalty. And he took all the paperwork to the accountant, and I tend to like to look at things and read them before I just signed. So when it came back, we owed the IRS a large sum of money. And I was like, well, what is this? So I called the accountant, and he was like, oh, Mr. Flores took out X amount, so here's the penalty. So it broke my heart, but I had him separate and do my taxes separate from his. And that was, I think the trust was gone at that point. So.
Do you think you came to hate him? Did you have a struggle with that?
I don't think I ever hated him. I still don't hate him. Again, it's part of my history. It's part of who I am. Where I am now is because of everything that has come before. So I am concerned about his well-being still. I would love.
Does he continue the same style?
Yeah.
Lifestyle?
Yeah. So, it would be nice if I knew that he was working on a change, but no, I never hated him.
Yeah, so it was a very hard struggle for you to come to the decision. When you took the decision and you said you were already separated, it was harder or it was easier?
It was harder.
It was harder. After that?
Even after that.
Wow.
Just because, there was the emotional attachment, the physical presence in the house, having someone else there. And we've been married for 17 years. So to go from, being together, doing things together.
Was he involved in the household activities?
Yeah.
So he was quite...
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah. He still calls me when it's going to be cold to remind me to turn off the water under the sink. So, yeah, he took care of things.
Do you still have a little bit of hope that one day?
No. No. Like I said, once I make the decision,
it's over.
It's over, yeah.
Have you met other ladies in similar situations, waiting and suffering and seeing life, falling down, not able to make decisions?
Yeah, and I feel like each person has to take it for themselves. I would never push my experience on someone.
You don't have an urge to say, do it now, don't wait.
But if they asked, I would share my experience. And, you know, hopefully that would help someone else. I think in a marriage, you really have to work together. And when you can't work together, you have to see, okay, you know, what are you going to do? For me, it was once I made up my mind, once I made that decision, that was it.
And in time you reinvested quite a lot of your emotional and practical resources into the church.
Church and work.
Church and work.
Yeah, I think it definitely gives me joy to, you know, help out at church, to just be involved in church.
That's a good word,
yeah.
joy, because it's obvious.
Absolutely.
Everyone knows who knows you. Could you give a testimony that you are a joyful person?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
very vivacious person.
I think I was, you know, joyful before and went through just a very rough time.
It drained you.
Yes, yes,
your
it absolutely
resources.
drained me. You know, sometimes I had to muster up all the energy that I had to go to work, and then would just come home and
it's
collapse.
difficult to imagine,
Yes.
knowing how I didn't know you then, but
Yeah.
knowing how you are now, it's difficult to imagine. But yeah,
Yeah,
it
so-
took all the
Yeah.
energy, all the idealism, all the hope.
Yes, yeah, all the joy. Took all the joy. So yeah, so I mean, working with people at church, or you know, giving my service definitely does give me a sense of joy. So I'm happy about that.
Did you say something like, have you been with your eyes wide open before? There would have been some hints into that, or am I right? Or
My girlfriends and I talk about this quite often, that sometimes you're so caught up in the emotion of things that you lose your good eyesight, and things that are small now, you have to make the decision that you're willing to overlook them forever. Otherwise,
it's difficult to,
yes.
to make such an...
Otherwise, you know, what's cute, or, oh yeah, you know, that could 5, 10, 15 years down the road become, you know, something that is just annoying, and you just can't take it anymore.
So, if I hear it well, it's a word of caution to young girls,
Absolutely.
to young boys as well,
Absolutely.
to take things very, very seriously.
Yes, take things seriously.
To use
Take the
discernment,
advice
take the
of,
advice.
of, you know, your
That's very
peers,
hard.
your
That's very hard.
parents. Yes.
It's very easy to accept the advice of those who
Yes.
see things like you, and it's almost impossible
Yes.
to take the advice of those who have a word of caution.
Yes.
Because you perceive them as personal enemies at that
Exactly.
time.
They don't want me to be happy.
Yeah. For
They
whatever reason.
do want you to be happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
It was not very easy for you to, after so many years, to open that, and not just in a personal conversation, but also for others. But in a way, it's a cautionary story, and so hopefully others will benefit from it. It will be a kind of redemption for your
Yeah.
suffering, and at the same time, it's a testimony to the redemptive power of God in your
Absolutely.
life.
Absolutely.
After being so drained up, to regain your joy of life, your zest, your joy of service.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say that, you know, while I was down, I had a wonderful church family that was checking on me,
Yeah.
that was lifting me up, that would, you know, get me out when I didn't want to go out. Even just
So they were, I mean, they knew about your situation and that
Eventually,
they are kind of therapeutic, they were intentional,
yes.
or it was just their way of being, or they were, intentionally taking care of you?
Yeah, yeah, they were very intentional, very protective. So it was very welcome because at some points I got to the point where I couldn't even pray for myself.
Really?
Yeah, so to know that others were praying for me or they would call and pray with me was very uplifting.
Why do you think you are not able to pray?
Somehow I couldn't form the words. It was here, but I just couldn't form the words to talk about how I was
Was it a
feeling.
time when you doubted God? What? No.
No.
Did you doubt yourself?
Yes.
You doubt yourself.
Yes.
So their love and their support help you to go through. That creates for you a debt of
Yes.
helping others.
Absolutely.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
May God continue to guide and to empower you
Thank you.
and give you joy.
Thank you.